It's this time of the week again. This time I'm a little bit more on top of the reporting to you guys, to the pioneers, to Pioneer Lands on Pioneer Alpha performance, of our portfolio performance. As you know, this is crucially important for constructing Pioneer Lands, for giving everyone the opportunity to have, not right now, by the way, this is not a solicitation to buy or sell securities. This is a strategic statement. This is crucial to allow everyone in Pioneer Lands, all the pioneers across the world, to have instruments, financial instruments that allow to convert the upside of AGI from Tesla, of course, to SpaceX, to NVDA, to all the other amazing stocks that are out there that are capturing this insane trajectory of AI, for all the pioneers to have a more simplistic and unified instrument to capture that upside and convert it into a stable yield. That is my mission here, or one of the missions of Pioneer Lands, to build that capital pillar and to validate it and to prove it over time. That is why we are doing that so officially, now institutionalized, with a Luxembourg vehicle available in the United States and in the European Union and in Canada and UK and Switzerland. That is why I'm working very hard to make sure that we keep outperforming the market, dramatically outperforming the market. And Tesla, of course, I can't make sure that happens, just to be clear, but I'm doing my best to do it. And this week was another good week after the worst week we had of the year, actually also of 2020, no, not of 2025, but the worst week in 2026 was the week before this week, where we were down 5% on the portfolio, underperforming Tesla dramatically. But this week we are back in the saddle with 3.88% up, thanks to the correct call that Tesla is recovering and now going probably towards all-time highs again. We were able to convert that into an effective strategy with some calls, some short puts, and of course with a slightly diversified portfolio, NVIDIA doing very well and delivered some alpha, Robinhood and MicroStrategy. These are the four positions, the vast majority in Tesla, or not vast majority, NVIDIA is also pretty strong. But altogether we were able to outperform Tesla by 1.58%. Not bad, actually excellent for a single week. We added 1.58% alpha over Tesla in this week, which now brings the year-to-date performance to 32.43%, which is an excellent performance. As you can imagine, if we would keep that up, we would end up at 70% or something for the whole year. Let's see if that's possible. I think we have interesting times ahead. And most importantly, we are absolutely outperforming our central benchmark, Tesla, with 35% now year-to-date. Since inception, of course, things are looking good. We are outperforming Tesla by 82%. Tesla up 75% since January 1st, 2024. So this all looks very good. I had a video yesterday out a little bit on the trading strategies, how we got there. Here is the 5-day performance of Tesla. So we were able to manage this pretty effectively, right? That right up, leveraged with short puts. And actually our performance would have been even better, significantly better. We would have been at 5% for the week, beating Tesla with 2.9% or something like that for the week, if it wouldn't have been for NVIDIA behaving very badly. Look at this in the last 5 minutes of trading. This was at market close. Suddenly someone did a major rug pull. I have no idea what that was all about. That seemed like weird behavior of someone. But they totally pulled the rug from NVIDIA, and we are pretty strongly also in NVIDIA right now. So that reduced our alpha, cut it in half effectively. We would have been, at least 3% alpha here, or 2.9% or something over Tesla. Let's take a quick look before we go into some more strategic outlooks. We outperformed the NASDAQ too very nicely. S&P, let's see. Also very nice outperformance this week. 2.4% over S&P. What does our mutual funds colleagues do here? MSCI World, the biggest mutual fund, or one of the biggest, 1.6% up. We are 3.88% up, so easy beat. What do our colleagues at ARK do? Ooh, they outperformed us. 7% ARK up this week. How are they doing year to date? Ooh, we destroy ARK. RK. So RK totally destroyed year to date, but they had a lucky week. It looked like, so over the week, we are underperforming by 3.3 percent alpha. RQ, let's look at this, also outperforming us this week by 0.98%. RQ up 4.86%. Let's see how they're doing year to date. You can check all that on pioneerreserve.com, by the way. And we are beating RQ year to date also very easily with 7.83% alpha. So altogether, Pioneer Alpha is dominating easily. I think no one is outperforming us off the benchmarks. TSLA, of course, totally destroyed this year, down 16%. We are outperforming nearly 50% over TSLA, the 2x leveraged ETF Tesla. Dow Jones, of course, no chance against us. 6% up. We are outperforming 26%. And what else do we have? That's it. So RK and RQ, very strong week, but still no chance against Pioneer Alpha year to date, easily outperformed. That is the quick report I just wanted to give everyone. So looking good. As you know, the thesis going forward now is very simple. June is, in my opinion, not just bullish, but could be incredibly bullish with an inflection point in robotaxis. Not unlikely to happen, right? Not unlikely to happen. I covered it yesterday and you saw the reports of Joe Techmeyer. Every day now he comes out with drone footage of Giga Texas. So we have that. These beautiful cybercaps. Look at that lot full of cybercaps. The thesis is very simple, that my call that we will see inflection of robotaxi in April or May this year did not become true, but turned out to not be very wrong, because what came true is that cybercap production is now ramping and we have hundreds, in my calculation, hundreds of cybercaps without real steering wheels. I mean, they have these makeshift steering wheels, but you can tell how makeshift they are, that this is not intended to be there for long. And I don't know if they have all these makeshift steering wheels. You can zoom in to see if you can see anything, maybe. So the fact that they're churning out these cars by the hundreds now and deploying them all over the place with no sign of slowing down means that there is not much time left for the bears to pray that this is just all a giant hoax and not happening. The opposite seems to become true more and more. That means we are aggressively positioning for a move up, which is dangerous, of course, because if we have a short-term pullback, even if I'm right that we hit all-time highs very soon, I would at this point argue we are getting close to all-time highs or even exceeding all-time highs, which is $490 in June. Hey, on this channel, we do something very important. We deeply analyze, understand, and predict capital, AGI, and politics. Not just to beat the markets and make a lot of money, even though that's important, but also to build a new society and make the future good for all of us, the pioneers. If you want to help me on this journey, you can do that by doing a very simple thing. Like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get back to the video. And even if I'm right, if we have a major pullback before, that would not be good if we have leverage on, synthetic leverage with short puts. But this is the game that I'm really focused on in June, because I believe that is one of these months that if I'm right, we can cash in dramatically. And if this happens, the opportunity here is to bring this year to date above 50% in June. And if that happens, that would be a giant win. Because as you know, the securities we are launching, we are building with Pioneer Reserve now, is these three bonds. They're all performance linked. And these bonds, they're on pioneeralpha.org. Just to explain that quickly, what our objective is. This is the bond that is geared towards anyone who has an interest in outperforming Tesla as a comparison, because we are very Tesla focused, but want to generate alpha over Tesla, which you just saw we are pretty successful right now in doing. This is basically a bond that takes the portfolio and pays out to the bondholders whatever the portfolio does, up to what Tesla does in the same amount of time, plus the difference of the alpha, 50% of the alpha. So if Tesla goes up 300% in 3 years, which is the maturity, we go up 400%. The bond payout is 350%. Simple. Growth 45. I'm very excited about this one. I'm most excited about income 12, but let's talk about growth 45. This is a much more stabilized system where the bondholders get paid up to 45% per year, accumulating at maturity, which is roughly 3 times the money at maturity. That is the deal here. It's also performance linked, but it also includes a buffer 10% upfront. So long story short, for example, if the portfolio over 3 years goes up 400%, the bondholders get 209% payout, maximum payout. If Pioneer Alpha goes up 80%, bond payout is 90% because of the 10% buffer. If Pioneer Alpha goes up 20%, bond payout is 30%, and so on and so forth. Basically, they are getting a 10% free performance boost in here, which is pretty cool. And then you have income 12. That will be the flagship long term, in my opinion. That is the future. That is the future of AGI capture for the pioneers. This is a bond that pays 1% per month, paid out as 3% per quarter in cash to the bondholders, plus up to 100% additional gains at maturity. So if a bondholder has, let's say, $100,000 in that bond, they're getting paid $1,000 per month. Not bad. Paid out, by the way, mostly tax-free because this is return of capital from a taxation perspective. Of course, always consult your CPA or your tax advisor, but 1% per month, so 100,000 bond pays $1,000 per month. And in the end, depending on portfolio performance, if the portfolio performs as it did in the past, up to 100% additional gain, depending on portfolio performance. So a $100,000 bond pays $1,000 per month, and after 3 years pays out $200,000. So it's a double whammy. If you run the math on it, the total return is less than the growth 45 because that thing pays up to 200% on top out, which in total is more than 12% per year plus 100% in the end. But this is a very nice income situation because with $1,000 per month, it is a nice situation. So that is kind of the systems we are working on. Hopefully we are getting to a close mid of June for the first 3. That is for the first 3 bond types. We are probably going to launch around $2 million, let's see, across them. So it's a small operation, but it's very important because these are the pioneers. It's the first time that we set up the entire Luxembourg structure here, made it available through an LLC in the United States, and to all the other jurisdictions that I mentioned. And it's going to be very important because this first cohort of investors, including me, by the way, I'm the biggest investor in this. I will be the biggest bondholder. It is very important in my opinion. It is the logical conclusion of 2.5 years nearly trading aggressively, actively, and with, I think, very good success here throughout a time where it wasn't always easy on Tesla. As you remember, we had problems with Tesla. And converting that ability into stabilized, much more stabilized bond products that still offer significant upside is very important for Pioneer Lands. Because don't forget, what we're doing in Pioneer Lands here is to basically prepare all of us. Here is pioneerlands.org. You can go there, Pioneer Lands Daily, getting better by the day, but will take another month or so to really be fine-tuned. Here we are basically having a free community. You can also become a citizen, pay $9 a month, and be more involved in everything. That helps us to pay for our people here who keep this all organized and improve it all day long. What we are doing here is basically covering Pioneer Alpha, Pioneer Wealth, which will be renamed to Pioneer Capital over the weekend. But Pioneer Alpha, where we are looking at the AGI story, right? From robots to autonomy, autonomous driving to space to blockchain to macro. We are looking at Pioneer Wealth, where it's about personal finance and so on and so forth, to Pioneer Politics, where we look at all the stuff that's happening in Europe, in the United States, in Australia, in Canada, in the UK. You know how it goes, to watch out for what's happening. And our mission here is with Pioneer Lands Daily to keep everyone informed, but also to blueprint a new type of media governance. Because everything we do here will be open to the community. The decisions, what we publish, what we focus on, and even the editorial perspectives will be much more transparent because we believe that capital, media, and politics need to be much more transparent and controlled by the pioneers for ourselves. So people who understand that, they become pioneers. They understand we can shape society, especially now that most of the control structures are breaking down behind the scenes, that we can rebuild a much better, much more transparent, and much more citizen-controlled democracy for ourselves. And a true democracy has 3 pillars: politics and voting, media production, media consumption that needs to be controlled by the citizens, and of course, capital that of course needs to be controlled by those who actually own the capital, which is us. So instead of delegating the capital governance, delegating it to some stupid fund that is intransparent, or some money manager pension fund, your money going there, they are taking your money and voting without asking you on all kinds of evil things behind the scenes against your own interest, will stop in Pioneer Lands. We will make sure we control our own capital, and we discuss everything together through Pioneer Lands Daily and some other structures like Pioneer Academy. On the media side, that we produce the media we consume through, I think, a very good strategy how we build this out, including education, by the way, where every citizen has a say and full transparency into how are these articles even generated, how do we select this, and what do we do about it. And finally, Pioneer Politics, which is all downstream of capital and media, so that's easy to manage once we have the first 2 under control. So that is happening here. So check out pioneerlands.org. Tune in tomorrow on Sunday. We have a live academy, of course, happening as every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, noon Central time. But you will see it scheduled here. 7 p.m. ET is actually wrong. This is 7 p.m. Central European time. Let me see about that. And that is how I see it. What we will do next week in terms of making sure we keep outperforming is we are watching Tesla very closely. Next week will be a tricky one. I hope everything is stable and doesn't get flushed down too much. But I think the week after next week, we are getting into interesting catalyst territory with the World Cup launching in Texas, with the Cybercaps getting lined up in Dallas, where most of these games are happening, and the anniversary of Robotaxi launch in Austin actually coming up the week after. So there's a lot happening, plus the end of the first half of 2026, which coincides with Tesla's Q4 statement in the earnings deck that they will unlock a whole range of additional cities in H1, which means within the next 30 days. Otherwise, they would be late and would be a little embarrassing. And I don't think Tesla wants to get embarrassed, and I don't think they will get embarrassed. And if all that is happening, hello, all-time highs, here we come. It's one of these nice moments, in my opinion, where we have a defined window of time where certain things are likely to happen and the market not really pricing it in yet. That is called alpha generation opportunity. So let's see what happens. Of course, everything, you never know. You have to be on top of it. If you go leverage or anything, you need to make sure to be able to pull the plug within the blink of an eye if things go wrong. Otherwise, you get killed. That's why we have Pioneer Alpha. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, very good. I hope that was enjoyable. Just a quick update on performance. Go to pioneerlands.org, check it out, and check in tomorrow. Until then, thank you.